Alright guys, I'm going to try to do this video as quick as possible, but there is a lot that I'm going to be talking about, so it could be 20 minutes long. What I really want to talk about is with the whole nonsense going on with the COOF the last year and a half. You know, I've been watching Gunbroker. There's a lot of items I watch, just seeing where everything's going. There's a lot of people buying stuff for stupid prices. A shining example is I picked up another GHM9 in the K configuration, and this is an SBR. I'm going to be covering up the rear of it because I have the laser engraving in it. But this is the GHM9. It's the Glock lower. I picked that up. Don't mind the second front sight on here. I just slid that back because I was checking to see if I like the Troy sights on it. Don't know if I do. So I have the 509T with the kinetic development quick release mount. That kind of, as you shoot, let's get that back on there. As you shoot, it actually tightens up. I picked this up, put the Mo on it. It's SBR'd. I have the folding stock for it. I just don't have the folding stock on currently right now. This is the folding stock for it. I picked that up for $1,545, not including shipping. When I saw them online, you got to use other search engines besides Google, because Google will not bring you to gun websites per se that will show you everything. I always use other search engines, and I found it for $1,545 at actually a few dealers. And I immediately went on Gunbroker because I said, well, let me use, obviously a new batch has come in because the dealers have them in stock that I normally, will buy stuff from. Not normally, but will occasionally buy some stuff from. And I said, let me see if I could pick it up on Gunbroker so I could add a transaction to my Gunbroker account, which will help my, you get your score, your positive feedback and stuff like that. It just helps your gun. It's like eBay. The more transactions you go through and the better you get rated, the better everything is. It's just it's better for you as far as a seller and or buyer. So I put a high bid of $1,550 was going to be my high bid. Well, it immediately surpassed that. I mean, within an hour, and I was going for ones that were selling within the day, and people ended up paying $2,200, $2,100 for them. I think somebody spent $2,400 on one of them. One of the last ones that sold out of the batch that seemed to arrive and were immediately up for sale. So with doing zero research, these people ended up paying $600 to $800 more than I paid, just because they didn't even bother looking to see if they could get it anywhere else, which is just stupidity. So I noticed that with like the MR556 and like the MCX. The MCX was selling for 3 times its value. At one point, people were buying them for $4,500. I mean, I've been watching them all, and the MR556, people, same thing. Just a lot of idiots out there. Just a lot of dumb people buying them for prices that were just outrageous because they did not understand how to do a general search and find them for sale. A buddy of mine picked up a SP5 from H&K. He had to pay MSRP, but he bought it from a local dealer. He paid for it before it even came in. And then when his came in, he just, he was done. Meanwhile, they were selling for $4,000 on $4,500 on Gunbroker. I think now some of them are down to $3,500, $3,400. But we're talking about the height of the thing that was going on the last year and a half. So it's just common sense. Just use your common sense, guys. There's no need to be doing that. Ammo is a different story because that everywhere, including gun stores, either they didn't have it in stock, and if they do have it in stock, it was, it was marked way up. Online, people were paying $1,000, $1,200 for 1,000 rounds. Just ridiculous prices. I noticed the prices seem to have. In fact, I just went to Cabela's a few days ago, and they actually had 5.56, but it was the 55 grain stuff that I don't use. I use the 62 grain or 75 grain or 77 grain. 62 grain for a lot of training and stuff like that. And then I'll set up my firearms with the 77 grain Hornady boat tail 75 grain, and I'll set my firearms for that, and then I'll just use the 62 grain during training, indoor stuff like that, which in my previous video I discussed that I haven't been doing a lot of shooting. Man, I just came back from the beach. I'm exhausted, sunburned and exhausted. I had a Sunday off for the first time in a while. I've had 2 Sundays off in a month, which is very, very rare. I've been working like 7 days a week during this whole COVID thing, and just because I've been wanting to work, and I've had the ability, which is, to work massive amounts of overtime, which has helped in my gathering of supplies and stuff like that. So, yeah, they had a ton of ammo, but it's all, ridiculous prices. But I have noticed that the ammo has gone from $1,000 for 1,000 rounds for 5.56 or 9mm down to about 400, 500. So it's in the last 2 months it's dropped, half. Just within the last 2 months. So what I decided to concentrate on is I already have a lot of magazines. I've always been somebody who buys a lot of magazines. I understand that they are consumables, that they don't last forever, that they get beat up when you drop them on the range and somebody walks on them. They fall on their feed lips, this and that. The aluminum ones could bend, and they take an ass whooping, right? They're supposed to. They're designed basically just to feed the AR, and that's it. And the original design was great and everything like that, but they're not going to last forever. So I have a good amount of magazines that I continuously run, that I will replace as they wear out or start having problems. They're all numbered. The ones that I run and gun with, stuff like that I train with, they're all numbered so I could isolate ones that are issued, that have issues, not issued, but that have issues. You could sit there and basically say, okay, number 13, number 18, or whatever is just had a failure to feed, especially if it's a gun that doesn't have any issues ever, and then suddenly you have an issue, and then so you could kind of check that magazine itself later on. But so what I started to really do is a couple things. I started to cut back my firearm, what's the word I'm looking for? My magazine diversity. I got rid of some firearms that took oddball magazines that I didn't have a lot of, and I started to look at only owning firearms that, if need be, the magazines are easy to get because they're common magazines. Like all my handguns right now are currently Glock, with the exception of some that I collect that are not ones that I work. I've got about 8 Glocks. They're all, some of them are repeats, duplicates. And then I have a whole thing where I have first aid kits for my firearms. I'm going to go into that video one day where I could basically build firearms from the first aid kits I have for them. Almost like Johnny Five from Johnny Five's Alive, where they could build another robot in the back of the truck with all the spare parts. That's basically what I have with my firearm. In fact, I could build multiples. I just need the core, like the lower or upper on some of these first aid kits. And then I have tons of parts kits that can replace parts and upgrade parts and stuff like that. But that's a different story. So I've decided that cutting back on oddball magazines, so let's look at something like the Strybog. The Strybog now has the lower from A3, which, from what I understand, is very reliable and is the better of the 2 popular ones that are out right now. But it's designed so it can take the CZ Scorpion mags. That works out perfectly. So because of that, I will be picking up a Strybog, where before, and the reason why I got rid of my original GHM9K was because it had the proprietary magazines. And I sold it, made money on it, and picked up a GHM9 that takes the Glock magazines, because I wanted to have cross compatibility. I wanted to be able to use the multiple magazines in the same function. So a lot of my ARs, I do want to get a 308 AR. I don't have any AK magazines up here. They're underneath. But I do have crates of magazines now that are backups on top of the actual ones that I cycle through my inventory, going to the range and stuff like that. And I've been buying them basically for prices that are not not abnormally high, not even high for the times, or that are actually some of these magazines I've been getting at prices that were lower than they were before this whole thing started a year and a half ago. So I'm not going to discuss some of the people, the things with the metal form mags. Some people say that they're no good. I'm not going to discuss the fact that they're actually the same ones as the Colt Noveske and the Brownells magazine. They actually make those magazines, and I haven't had any problems. I'm not going to get into that whole discussion, but I do have a crate of the Duramags, the metal form, the Brownells. I only have 3 of these Brownells because I just wanted to see how they were, knowing that they were the exact same magazines as the metal form. The only difference is being the finish. I wanted to see if I like that finish, but it's not worth $10 more a magazine to have that finish. So I have been going to Big Daddy Unlimited. I've belonged to them for like 2 years, and I have been purchasing tons of magazines from them. Now, that being said, they are not the only place I will buy a magazine from. Or any product from. I will compare. I've got apps on my computer that will let me know if a product is cheaper somewhere else. A lot of times, if it is cheaper somewhere else, it's almost like a false flag. It was cheaper. It was on a sale that was 3 years ago or 6 months ago, and it's no longer at that price, or it's not in stock, hasn't been in stock. It will show me stuff like that. There's apps you can get on your computers depending on what kind of brand you have, but stuff like that. Like Rainier Arms currently has, or had, it was a one-day sale, $11.99 for the Gen 3 windowed PMags. These are $12.99 all day, every day on Big Daddy Unlimited. Have I been saying Gunbroker the whole time? The last few minutes, or the last minute or so, I'm at Big Daddy Unlimited. I'm not sure if I've been saying that, but I get all my AR mags from there usually, except for when that sale happened. I went and picked up 10 from there. So every week I try to pick up anywhere from 10 to 30 magazines, depending on how much overtime I worked and stuff like that. I'm also making sure I'm not going into debt doing this, and I'm just using, basically, with the way everything's going right now, I'd rather be at work working, and then just enjoying my time after work, staying away from large groups of people, just stuff like that, because I don't like people in general. I really don't like people in general. So I've kind of said, you know what, let me take this opportunity where now that things are opening back up, I'm actually going out more and not working as much. But while the height of this thing was going on, I had the ability to work as much as I wanted for the most part. And I used that time where nothing was open and nothing was worth going to see anyway, because it was all bullshit with masks. And I worked a lot of overtime. So now I basically have crates upon crates of those black plastic crates that are black, and then they have the yellow lid. You see them at Costco, Home Depot. I have P mags, factory Glock mags, crate of factory Glock 17s, Glock 19s, a crate of each, a crate of the Glock 33 rounders, a crate of the windowed P mags, non-windowed P mags Gen 3, crate of P mags Gen 2 windowed, CZ Scorpion from Magpul's crate. A crate of the Magpul 27 rounders, a crate of the Magpul 21 rounders, a crate of the Magpul 17 rounders, a crate of AK mags that are all those are all surplus. I'm going to be working eventually on getting a crate of the PMag Gen 3, I think, or Gen 2. They've got the metal tabs and stuff like that built into it, so it's not all plastic. Latch catches and stuff like that are all metal. Get a crate of those. I'm going to be getting, I've got a crate of the metal forms, a crate of the C products, crates of the Sure-Feeds. I've got crates of the Sure-Feeds in tan, and then a crate in the silver. I've got crates, these are all new mags, by the way. that I just pulled out for show and tell, just to show you what I'm talking about. Crates of the C Products Duramag for the AR. These I'm gonna be doing a crate of the metal feed lip ones, because these are all plastic. So I want to do like the Palmetto State Army ones. I want to get a crate of those. And that's what I've been doing. About, you got to figure, for the last, I mean, I had a lot of magazines to begin with, just because I'm kind of a prepper, and that's a whole different story. I don't think these are actually going to help in a prepper situation, because but I understand that these are always under attack because of what they are. You know, they're standard capacity magazines that are, you know, called high capacity, even though they're not high capacity. They're standard capacity, for the most part. And these are always being under attack. So I want to put back enough that can last me a lifetime of shooting. Oh, and you can see me. Look at me. You can see me in the reflection. I'm giving you kisses. And just worrying about, you know, the fact that these are not made to last forever, guys. Especially, like I said, if you're doing competitive, any type of competitive shooting, anything like that, these will not last forever. So having the ability to supply friends and family with them, having the ability to maintain the ones I have off of the backups that I have. I'm not rich. It's not like I made a lot of money, but you spend time, you know, collecting this stuff, and over time, next you know, you have a big collection, you have a big amount. I think this is a good thing to do, guys, because these, you know, they're not being overcharged unless you go to some place local. Like some of my local gun dealers, they wanted, at one point, this Gen 5 17 mag, they wanted like $49 for this thing. At one point during this whole situation over the last year, they wanted like $29.99 for these, you know, because they're just jerk offs. That's why I don't go there anymore. They're just jerk offs there. And they wanted like $80 to do an FFL transfer. I did it one time, and I didn't realize they were charging that much, and I was like, oh, never doing that again. I found a guy down the road that does it for $5. You know, these haven't been going crazy, and like I said, as long as you shop around, you'll find them for a good price, a real good price, and you might as well get them now while they're available. We're gonna continue to fight to make sure they stay available, but I'm also a realist. I understand that they are in the eyes of they're in the sights of some, you know, people out there that want us to be more compliant and more, you know, more of a victim than a person that's not a victim, whatever the fuck the word is I'm looking for here. But you know, so guys, go ahead and start every week. Pick yourself up a magazine, 2 magazines, 3 magazines, like 10 magazines a month or something. If you do 10 magazines a month, you have 120 magazines, and you know, that's $120, whatever. If you're $129 if you do these a month. If you can only do 1 or 2 or a week, that's fine. Just something to think about, guys, because these have not been going crazy in prices. Like I said, some of these I've found cheaper than pre-coof, you know? So these are like, I think these are like $9.99 or something like that, $10.99. The Sure Feeds, these are really good. These are $8.99. These C Products Duramag, these are real good. These are standard, you know, these are real good magazines. $12.99. Found them for $11.99 in Rainier. Picked up a bunch more. Waiting on them still. Yeah, guys, just something to think about. Quick and dirty video. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. Like, I've tried to do this video like 12, almost probably 10 times, and I just keep on going and getting into tangents, like about the metal forms and then prepping. But like I said, I don't collect these because of a prepping thing. You know, I have plenty of mags that would last me the 13 minutes I lasted if the world ever went to shit. So these are more of a long-term thing. All right, guys, have a good one.